Actually, before Father Jim begins, I want you to know I'm very happy that he's here. Yesterday I gave a 12-hour retreat to 40 couples getting married, and I'm so sick of love that I need to sit and meditate on the gospel today. So Jim, thank you for being with us.
In today's gospel, we're not given a do's and don'ts list. We're given very simply the words, listen to him. And you know, listening is one of those most precious gifts that we can give to someone. Our society is filled with all sorts of noise and chatter, compounded by text messaging and twittering. Perhaps this Lent, we can try to be better listeners to our friends and family. What are they really trying to say to us? How am I really listening to what they're saying to me? And we might also want to listen to the greater world around us as well. You know, those with public platforms and fame, they get on the front pages. They get heard. But how about the many voices that are never heard? Who speaks up for the poor? Who speaks for those with no health care? Who speaks up for the elderly? Who's there to speak on behalf of the victims of the mortgage crisis and scandal? Where are the voices speaking on behalf of our debilitated environment? So how and where can we listen to God speaking on their behalf? I'm here this morning on behalf of Cross International Catholic Outreach, a 501c3 nonprofit organization with a heart for the poorest of the poor, and our mission is to listen to the voices of the poorest of the poor. We now help in more than 20 countries, working with the local churches because they are the ones who know the needs of the peoples of the towns and villages best. They know what is needed to help bring the people out of poverty and provide more than just day-to-day necessities. I'd like to give you some images as to what our work involves. And I'd like to begin with a story that I think I've told before, but it's a story close to my heart. It's a story of Theodore and his brother Francois, 9 and 11 years old respectively. They live in Haiti. The story takes place outside the small hut in which they live, and they're watching their mother prepare something for them to eat. And what she's preparing is a clay cookie called the bomboter. And she makes this cookie by taking some dry yellow dirt, taking out the clumps and the small pebbles, mixing it with water, adding some shortening, and flavoring it with salt. She then leaves the mixture out in the scorching sun to bake. Later, the boys come back to have their cookie, which is also the only thing they will have to eat all day. And Theodore says to his brother, "Oh, this tastes good." His brother, being a little older and wiser, said, "Yeah, but not as good as bread." That is a true story. Children eating dirt, so at least they can have something in their stomach. We help Father Jose Paz of the Incarnate Word Fathers in his work in Cotahuasi, Peru. He has set up a boarding school for children. The children stay there during the week because the travel to school is too great. It would take them 2 hours to walk to school, so then they don't go to school. So he set up a boarding house close to the school where the kids can house, do their homework, be tutored, and Cross Catholic helps the food. So we help provide 2 meals a day to the children who are living there. That's our response to that. In Chali, Ethiopia, 13,000 people are drinking contaminated water filled with parasites and bacteria. And it causes many people and children as well to die from things like dysentery, diarrhea, and typhoid. And we're working with the Consolata missionaries there to help build a gravity-fed aqueduct system bringing clean, fresh water to that community. We work with the Diocese of Nadoba in Zambia, as we do in many other parts of the world, building simple homes for people. Concrete slab, cinder block walls, a zinc roof. No running water, no plumbing, no electricity, but just a place to house the family safely at night and keep them out of the inclement weather. We help people at the Tala leper colony in the Philippines because the students there are descendants of lepers. Doesn't matter if your parent or grandparent or great-grandparent was a leper, you're stigmatized, you can't get an education and have good job opportunities. And so we offer them, Cross Catholic offers them scholarships to go to a Catholic technical school so they can receive the training that will enable them to be competitive in the job market. We're able to do all these types of things because of the many donations we receive of food, clothing, construction supplies, medicines, high-tech medical equipment. And all those donations are of tremendous value because our only cost is in transporting that to the poor. And that's where you come in. That for every dollar donated, we can provide many more times that worth of life-saving, life-enhancing aid to the poorest of the poor. So at the time of the earthquake in Haiti 2 years ago, in addition to setting up emergency centers right away, as we've been helping there for more than 10 years, we sent down 5 shipments of goods. Each shipment contained $1.2 million of donated soybean, electrolyte drink, tops, blankets, diapers. It cost us $8,000 to transport. So instead of giving the church in Haiti then the $40,000, they could do very little for that people with that type of money. We were able to multiply the effectiveness of those funds and use it to help supply them with $6 million of very much needed resources. The last image I have is our brochures. You're going to find them at the ends of your pews here. For those in the auditorium and the TV room, they're also around there. And the ushers will help to distribute those if you still need more. I'm going to ask our good altar servers just to walk around quickly. Altar service, hello. This is what happens when you preach too much. Okay, they're going to walk around the church. Should you need one as they pass by, please raise your hand and they will give you one. So if everyone would pick up your brochures, I'd like to walk you through this brochure rather quickly for a few moments, and then I ask that you please take it home so that we don't leave a mess in the church. So if you turn to the first centerfold for a moment, please, you'll see the words Love in Action. And on the lower left-hand corner is a picture of Bishop Sam Jacobs. He's the chair of the board. And also on the board are there are other bishops on the board as well as on other committees. They are at the end, yes. And so we're doing this work with the support, encouragement, and endorsement of a good number of the United States Catholic bishops. On the lower right-hand side is a picture of Bishop Van. He's also on the board of directors, and he's here pictured with Pope Benedict because Cross is also an affiliate of Cor Unum, which is the Holy Father's International Emergency Relief Agency. And so we also assist the Holy Father in providing emergency assistance to victims of natural disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis. Turn now to the full centerfold like this for a moment. And in the center, you'll see off to the side, there's a small circle graph, and that shows how donations received are distributed. In fact, almost 97% of all donations go to benefit the poor directly. That is to say, a little more than 3% of donations are used for fundraising and administrative expenses. In the very center, you'll see the words prayer requests. The workers at Cross Catholic meet every morning for prayer for 1 hour. They ask that this be included in the brochure because they would like to pray for your requests as well. And so I invite you now that if you happen to have a pen or pencil with you, just to go ahead to take it out and to fill this out with your prayer requests. And right below that is a place for your name and address. We do want to acknowledge all our donors as well as provide you with a timely update of our work. Please let me assure you that we do not sell or lease or give out our mailing list to anyone else. Now, as I've been here a number of times, I am very much aware that many of you are already on our mailing list, and I appreciate that and publicly acknowledge that and thank you. But I'm going to ask that you fill this out again anyway, and then just put a note, I am already on the mailing list. So this way we know that you were here today, and also you will not get another mailing, okay? And then, if you want to put down something about me and how great I was, so that you can do that too. Okay, so as you're filling this out, just let me say something more about how your donations are helpful. For example, you can help with the water project in Ethiopia. You can help 50 people get water with your donation of $50. You can help Father Jose Paz in Peru to feed the students there. One student to be fed for an entire year is a donation of $213. I'd like you to think about your dream house for a moment. What does your dream house look like? How much might that cost? The dream house for the third world family that I mentioned before cost about $3,000. And perhaps there's someone here who might be able to donate that type of money. Or perhaps you belong to an organization within the parish or the community or at your school or university. Might you consider a fundraiser to raise those funds? Or to raise enough money to feed a village for a day? Or to inoculate children for a week? Or to help out with one of our many water projects? You might want to think about your donation in terms of when you go to dinner with your friends or family to celebrate a special occasion. How much might that cost? And might you be willing to donate an equal amount to people who have absolutely nothing? Or perhaps to think of it in terms of filling up your car or your SUV for the week. So a number of different ways that I invite you to partner with us so that together we can listen to the cries of the poorest of the poor and be able to respond to them. During the season of Lent is a time that calls us to prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Perhaps our prayer during this Lent might include praying for the poorest of the poor. And in your fasting, when you're fasting from food and you feel those pangs of hunger, allow that to remind you of people who have very little, if food at all, even children eating dirt. And your almsgiving, perhaps your donation to Cross Catholic Today, might be one way to share some of your monies, your contributions to help better someone else's life. So a number of different ways that I call you to help out with people who have no FEMA, no Red Cross, no Salvation Army, no media coverage. Their own governments don't help them. So the only way they have some hope and promise that their dignity will be respected is through their local church and the support of their sisters and brothers in Christ throughout the world. And that's why this appeal is so unique and so important. Very simply, in the very center, you'll find that it's perforated. You can tear that brochure in half, just like that. And then right behind the place where you're filling out, or you will fill out your name and address, look what happens to this brochure. Many of you know this already. It opens into a pocket. A big, deep pocket, okay? That's where you put your $1,000 bill. I want to thank, every time I come to St. Francis, there are many people who donate $1,000. So I'd like you to really thank you publicly, and also invite other people to perhaps think about contributing $1,000 as well. Very simply then what you do is you put your donation inside, you seal the envelope, it's postage paid, it's self-addressed, and sometime during the week, after you've had some time to think about this and to pray about it, very simply put it into the mailbox. That's it. I'll be in the back of the church after Mass should you wish to leave your donation with me today. So just a kind word of thanks to Monsignor Craig for this invitation to Cross International to make this appeal to you at this time. Please always remember the poorest of the poor in your prayers. And look, if you haven't filled this out already, would you please do so as soon as you get home? Because you know what happens? You know what happens. Out of sight, out of mind, and then, as we say in Brooklyn, then you forget about it. And the poorest of the poor are really counting on you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Father Jim.